If I didn't tell you, you'd probably never guess that this tablet started life as this completely destroyed smartphone. Honestly, I've been obsessed lately with giving broken hardware a second chance, and this phone is no exception. I've already turned it into a mini PC, all-in-one PC, and even a laptop. Then I came across a video from a Korean YouTuber who transformed a smartphone into a tablet. The idea immediately caught my attention, so today I'm going to build one myself and see how it turns out. To make this project work, the first thing I need is a broken phone. And I think I've talked about this one enough already, so I'll keep it short. It's just a badly damaged Samsung S9 that I picked up for around $30. I don't even remember the exact price anymore. The next thing I needed was a touchscreen display, so I jumped onto eBay and ordered one, along with a bunch of other small parts for the build. About a week later, everything finally arrived. Let's start with the display. Wow, it actually looks pretty premium. I paid $60 for it. It's a 14-inch full HD touchscreen with a 60Hz refresh rate. Alright, moment of truth. Let's hook it up to the phone and see if everything actually works together. Perfect. I can control Samsung DeX directly from the touchscreen. That's exactly what I was hoping for. But now comes the tricky part. If I want this build to look clean, I need to hide the phone inside the display itself. The problem is, this monitor is incredibly thin. It's only about 1 centimeter thick, so I was honestly worried there wouldn't be enough room inside for the phone. First, I had to figure out how to open the display. That turned out to be harder than I expected. There weren't any visible screws anywhere around the frame. I spent about 15 minutes trying to figure out how to get inside. Eventually, I found the trick, although it also meant instantly voiding my warranty. Well, I guess there's no going back now. The next challenge was separating the LCD panel from the outer frame. It's glued down at all 4 corners, so I had to carefully slide a thin blade underneath and slowly work my way around the edges. This definitely wasn't the time to rush. I really didn't want to ruin a brand new display. Oh my god! They used a lot of adhesive, way more than I expected. The whole time I was thinking, please don't let me break this. Thankfully, it finally came apart. And here's the good news. Once everything was opened up, I realized there was actually a surprising amount of empty space inside. More than enough to start fitting the extra hardware for this project. Things get a little easier from here. The next step is simply disconnecting the display cable from the controller board. Now, I need to figure out something much more important. How to power both the display and the phone without plugging them into the wall. The answer is batteries. The challenge is that there's only about 7 millimeters of clearance inside the case. That's not much to work with, so I chose ultra-thin lithium batteries that are only 6 millimeters thick, each with a nominal voltage of 3.7 volts. It actually takes 4 of these cells to provide enough power for both the display and the phone. Don't worry, I'll explain exactly how the power system works a little later. For now, I need to make as much room as possible, so I'm removing every unnecessary plastic support from the bottom of the case, allowing the batteries to sit as low as they possibly can. I decided to keep all 4 VESA mounting points intact. Once that was done, I started figuring out the best layout for all the components. After moving things around more times than I'd like to admit, I finally settled on this arrangement. But there was one more problem. Every time you want to use Samsung DeX, you still have to press the phone's power button to wake it up. If I completely hide the phone inside the display, that button becomes impossible to reach. So I positioned the phone right next to the edge of the enclosure, allowing me to cut a small opening for easy access to the power button. To make that work, I had to trim away more of the plastic supports around the inside edge of the frame. Once that was finished, I started thinking about how I could press the phone's power button from the outside without taking the whole thing apart. Then an idea came to me. What if I attached a small rubber pad directly to the power button and let it stick out through the side of the case? It turned out to be a surprisingly simple solution. Now I can press the power button from the outside just as easily as if the phone were still in my hand. I also wanted to make the most of every feature that still worked on this phone. That included the camera. Instead of hiding it away, I wanted to reuse it for things like taking photos or scanning documents. The solution was pretty straightforward. I simply drilled a small hole in the back panel that's just the right size for the camera lens. Simple, but surprisingly effective. With that done, the phone is finally taken care of. Next, I need to work out the battery charging system. I bought a charging board that also includes an LED battery level indicator. The plan is to mount it along the left edge of the case. That way I can easily check the battery status from the outside. To make that possible, I first marked its position, then cut a small opening so the LED indicators would remain visible. And with that, the charging board is in place. Now it's time to arrange the battery cells inside the case. Once I was happy with the layout, I trimmed off the original battery tabs. The next step was wiring all 4 batteries in parallel. That means connecting every positive terminal together and every negative terminal together. This keeps the voltage the same while increasing the overall battery capacity. After that, I connected the positive and negative outputs from the charging board directly to the battery pack. One thing I noticed was that the wires on the charging board were incredibly thin. So before going any further, I replaced them with a pair of thicker wires that should handle the current much more reliably. Once all the wiring was finished, I made sure to cover every solder joint with heat shrink tubing to prevent any accidental short circuits. As you can see, the charging board is working perfectly. It's even showing that the battery pack is sitting at around 70% charge. The next challenge was all of this messy wiring. I needed to keep every cable as low as possible so nothing would press against the back of the display. After a lot of rearranging, and maybe a little bit of creative cable management, everything finally fit nice and neatly inside. With everything wired up, I wanted to check the battery pack's output voltage. Perfect! It's reading 3.9 volts, which is exactly what the phone needs. As you can see, the original phone battery operates at almost the same voltage. Alright, now it's time to modify the phone itself. I'll remove the back cover and power it directly instead of using the original battery. To do that, I'll use the phone's battery connector and solder the positive and negative leads from my battery pack directly to it. Next, I need to power the display controller. A USB Type-C power cable is connected directly to the positive and negative terminals of the same battery pack. Once all the wiring is finished, I plan to mount the controller board right here. After fixing it in place, I'll connect a USB-C cable from the phone to the controller board to carry the display signal. The original cable is far too long, so I'm replacing it with a much shorter one that can bend in any direction, making it much easier to route inside the enclosure. Finally, I'll secure the controller board in place using double-sided adhesive tape. Next, I'll mount the 2 speakers here and connect all of the control cables to the controller board. With that done, every component inside my DIY tablet is finally in place. Now it's time for the moment of truth. Let's see if it powers on. No way. The display came to life instantly. That's a very good sign. But then I ran into a serious problem. The touchscreen had completely stopped working. What's strange is that I'd already tested it earlier, and the touch function worked perfectly. So something must have gone wrong along the way. Right now, the only way I can control the system is through the phone itself. I went through every setting I could find in both Samsung DeX and the displays menu, hoping I'd missed something. Nothing. I also checked every cable connected to the controller board, and everything appeared to be plugged in correctly. At this point, I was completely out of ideas. But then, after taking one more careful look, I spotted the most ridiculous mistake. I'd installed the touchscreen ribbon cable backwards. Seriously. It was such a simple mistake. The moment I flipped the cable around and powered it back on, the touchscreen worked perfectly again. I couldn't believe it. After all that troubleshooting, the problem was entirely my fault. Alright, now it's time to put the display back on and finally finish this tablet. Carefully. Oh yeah, everything is finally together. After all the planning, cutting, wiring, and troubleshooting, it's finally finished. Now it's time to sit back and enjoy the result of all that hard work. I think I can officially call this a tablet now. So let's try a few everyday tasks and see how it performs. First, some simple web browsing, and yeah, it's surprisingly smooth. The touchscreen is especially impressive. It feels responsive and every tap registers almost instantly. Next up is YouTube. The display is a 14-inch full HD panel, so while it's not the most stunning screen you'll ever see, it's more than good enough for everyday use. For someone like me, it's exactly what I need. One thing I wasn't particularly impressed with was the audio. In my opinion, the speakers don't sound all that great. Now, for the real test, Minecraft. With the render distance set to the lowest setting, this DIY tablet is pushing around 200 FPS. That's an incredible result. And that's not all. I can still take photos and record videos using the phone's camera, just like a normal tablet. When the battery gets low, I simply plug in the charger and keep using it. I can even adjust the display settings using the physical buttons on the side of the screen. It's a small feature, but it's surprisingly convenient. Shutting the tablet down is just as simple. All I have to do is exit Samsung DeX and press the phone's power button. That turns off both the phone and the display. To power it back on, I just press the same button again. The only thing you need to do beforehand is disable the lock screen in the phone's settings, so Dex starts up without asking for a password. And with that, I've successfully turned a broken phone into a fully functional tablet. It does everything I hoped it would, and all the essential features work exactly as they should. The entire project cost me around $120. Honestly, I don't think it's nearly as difficult as it looks. I believe you could build one too. So, what do you think of this DIY tablet? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.